Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, tech fans of all shapes and sorts and sizes and persuasions, welcome to another live stream.
Yes.
Podcast live stream.
Scream? What?
Live stream. We're gonna live stream our experiences using
It's this kind of show today.
cheap phones.
Cheap phones. We're gonna
I kind of feel like that's what's in the air this Friday is just a lot of like stuttery haziness.
Yeah,
it's been a long week.
It's been and
It's been a heck of a week.
And my week still doesn't have an ending yet.
Well, no,
No,
because we've got to discuss super cheap phones in between
no.
the onslaught of all of the super premium expensive things that we've been playing with.
And the stuff that's coming down that we gotta start working and preparing for you guys and just it's a busy week.
I am of course joined by the lovely and talented Mr. TK Bay. So you should definitely go check out his YouTube channels. Where are people finding you these days? Creating your YouTube content.
Yeah, channels is right. So there's TK Bay. Sorry, with the mic, I'm trying not to touch you guys. There's TK Bay over on YouTube and on Instagram, and as well as just TK Bay, and then there's Tariq Bay, which is something new that I'm working on.
Oh, he's not. It's just someone trying to impersonate you.
That's just the full spelling of my first name, and that's the Arabic side of the channel. So I have Arabic and English, and then of course XDA.
Nice.
Been there for a while,
And the Twitters and all that other fun stuff.
You'll find
him. TKDSL8655.
Pretty much. Otherwise, just keep looking on his feed. I show up every once in a while.
Right. Well,
and it was there a couple of days ago.
And case in point, we're finally circling back to something that we started. We talked about at the beginning.
I want to say around the beginning, yeah.
It was like the beginning of the summer.
And I do want to apologize.
Now it's almost the end of the summer.
It just time. Life.
It gets away from us.
I was gonna say, it happens.
But coordinating and trying to put together some of these fun challenges, it's a tricky scheduling act because like immediately we had field trips for 5G. We've had a number of phone launches
was a lot of
come
fun.
out.
You guys should definitely check out those videos. We put out a couple of good ones there, and we did live stream there from the event, so that was actually a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you're still rocking the 5G OnePlus. Is that
OnePlus 7 Pro, man? It's a fast phone to start with, and then you throw really fast internet on top of it. It just kind of begs the question, like, how fast can you go? But yeah, I loved the OnePlus 7 Pro before, but adding now it's like even more because of that fast connection. And I just wish we had a little bit better coverage. That's my only thing. I would say.
We're planning another field trip because we got to check out 5G on towers
close enough
picked out by the carrier.
Yes.
Right.
Not at the launch event.
Not just like we just randomly found a 5G tower. So we're gonna try and see if we can war drive for some more 5G. Pasadena.
I think
Pasadena?
so. Pasadena, from the way I was driving through Pasadena a couple of times, and then I saw that the 5G popped up. I did a speed test one time when I was driving through, and then actually decent speed.
Pretty decent.
300s, not that bad.
Okay.
I tweeted it, so it's not bad.
So kind of like my home cable. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Nice.
Except we'll be mobile.
except I can get it anywhere.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, but that's not what we're talking about today.
That's a future episode.
Today we're getting back to the challenge. Like I said, we started this sort of at the beginning of the summer, and we actually had some back and forth. We had some conversations about these gadgets, but there's that perpetual debate on how to handle lower cost smartphoning.
Exactly, yeah, and the options that you have now.
We've been surrounded, like if you check out our current channels, we're surrounded by $800 plus phones.
Mm-hmm.
That is, in my opinion, becoming more of a focused conversation for niche use, not mainstream use. I disagree very, very much that average consumers covering the basics should be spending anywhere near $800 on a phone.
On an average, no, you're right. And some of these devices that we're talking about are, they're starting to go upward in prices where I feel like they're just asking for it sometimes because they can, and not necessarily that you're getting the value for the exact dollar. The dollar per value kind of association.
So I mean, I agree with that if we're only going to review smartphones at that lowest common denominator.
Yeah.
Like so many smartphone reviews, you see someone holding this beautiful $1,000 piece of museum art, and then they open Instagram. And you're like, why would we recommend that as the de facto solution.
This $50 phone will open
We
Instagram.
can open
Just as a
Instagram.
heads up.
So, but that's kind of what I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about. Is like, I actually don't have a philosophical problem with the $1,000 phone if we really are trying to find the right fit to the right consumer.
No, exactly.
Right?
That's what I meant. It's the per dollar benefit that are you getting the benefit of $1,000 worth of phone when you're going to that level? Are you using the specifications that you're using? You're trying to render, you're trying to take good video, you're trying to rely on much better microphones, quad DACs, hardware that is obviously not going to come down to that mid-range to low-end devices, because that's how that's how the cost gets basically, in my opinion, that's how they figure out cost.
I can see the audio levels are a little low. I'm going to turn that up. So, but that's also where I think if we're talking about $1,000 phones, I am increasingly going to try and make the argument that you're also looking at disrupting a tablet purchase and maybe even a laptop purchase.
Pretty much, yeah.
You're talking about a tier of performance, horsepower, nice consumption specs, displays, things like that, so that your $1,000 on this one mobile product might mean you don't need to spend another $1,000 somewhere else.
On a laptop or getting a tablet, like you said, yeah.
But that also leaves this huge, wide open potential for the mid-range and for the entry level. And that's where the debate has gotten really interesting. I mean, like, we could do a whole separate video and probably talk for hours about current modern day mid-ranger versus last year's flagship premium option.
Which could still be considered a mid-ranger. I mean, if you...
Totally.
Is it really a mid-ranger, though? Because it's only a year, and technically only 1 year within the 2-year cycle that you're trying to keep your phone anyways to get your money back, or worth, I guess, not money back.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. Yeah, where is that category? Where does that line start to blur a little bit?
And so I love that as a debate, and it's something I think we should actually maybe do a structured debate sometime soon. Kind of like what we did with Josh with the buttons versus gestures.
Oh man,
that was a fun showdown. But while we've also focused on mid-rangers for part of that solution too, I think there's another conversation that's very similar when we crawl to the $200 and under tier. Where I've reviewed, I mean, like, I recently spent some time with the CoolPad. That's a $200 retail phone that you can often find on sale for like $50 and a half a ham sandwich.
Exactly.
So that's what spurred on our showdown here. Is we wanted to give ourselves the challenge of using
give each other. That was the other part of the challenge.
Using.
I got to pick his phone and he got to pick my phone. So it made it.
I think the conclusion right at the top of this video is I came out way better in this showdown than you did.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're gonna say that now, so just to save you the time, because.
And thanks for watching, folks. Smash that bell icon.
If you didn't see that in the video that we did last time, where my phone decided to have a removable back when it's not supposed to, yeah. I think the challenge, yeah. There's no way to explain it. Yeah. The Revvl is a much better phone than the XGoddy.
So those are the two devices that we're talking about
if you look at the settings.
So yes,
it says Mate RS in there in the settings, but
it's hilarious.
It's not a Mate. It is not a Huawei.
We are this showdown is sort of the low budget version of premium last year phone or current mid-ranger. This is premium mid-ranger.
Yeah,
older
when it came out, even when it came out, it was always a mid-ranger.
Versus a purpose-built modern $50 phone. Or like it's 50 to 70, depending on where you can actually shop it.
I checked it this morning. It's $49.95.
And so I think when I bought it, it was 70, but it had a different name.
It did. So that was the one that I was surprised with. So you got a brand new phone,
right?
More expensive than I did, but it had less specs than the one I gave you, which was an older phone, and it was still in decent shape. So I got it. This is in very good shape. Yeah. I got it off of Swappa, and my goal was essentially to get a T-Mobile specific phone, mostly because I knew he had the network access there, so I didn't want to get him something that only worked on, let's say, Sprint or Verizon.
Right.
That would have been too bad if it's that should have been my sabotage. I should have given him like a great phone, but it only worked.
The thing was, I wasn't trying to sabotage. I was just going for pretty.
He says that.
I do.
He says that.
Okay, between the two,
walk around with this.
And knowing that he's like all about shiny Huaweis and stuff, I think I nailed the aesthetic.
I'm not all about shiny Huawei.
I mean.
I like darker colors. That's a Samsung.
Well, let's see what's on the back of the Samsung that you've got in a dark
I
case.
generally do not generally go.
It's like, well, look at this. It's this.
The colors I usually go with
kind of a gray shiny. And then what color was your last Huawei? I can't remember. Was it shiny and glittery?
It's always shiny and glittery.
It was shiny and glittery.
My last Honor phone was actually pretty shiny and purpley.
My last
The
Honor
Thanos
phone
color.
was Fire Engine Red. I love that.
Oh, you got
that,
the red V20.
It's real
yeah, the
pretty.
V20.
So, okay.
Okay, yeah.
Back on task here.
We digress.
For all of my protestation there, the XGoddy, a fair bit less functional, we could say. Starting off with my phone, the T-Mobile Revvl.
Please.
This is essentially a really good clone. This is made by TCL. It's basically an Idol 4.
Yeah, and just to keep in
just
mind,
in a T-Mobile wrapper.
The Revvl brand on T-Mobile generally took, the other OEMs' devices and rebranded. So it's a rebrand. Now you can find them. I think like I want to say Motorola makes them.
I've got the Revvl Re.
Yeah,
over here on the side, and I'm pretty sure it's some variation on a G7.
Yeah, so it's this. You really, it's a good price for the feature, and it works great, and it gives you LTE connectivity, and generally it's actually not a bad device. It's a good starter device. If you're thinking of buying a phone and you're on a budget, I think it's a great phone.
Yeah, I've actually been very happy with T-Mobile's rebranding strategy.
Yeah, I like them.
A major part, I've got a Revvl Re video that's going to be going out next week, and a major conclusion, spoiler for that video, is you probably won't buy it if you watch gadget review videos, but you don't have to make that gasping through your teeth sound if your aunt shows up at a family reunion with a T-Mobile branded phone. It's actually a very good phone.
Oh no! It's actually brand new, right? It just got released.
No, the Revvl Re Plus is very, very current.
Yeah. No, this is their latest one, and I think I saw it on Twitter not that long ago, a few weeks back. So it's actually, I was excited for that device. So yeah, long story short, T-Mobile Revvl series of devices are definitely.
So how long were you able? Because I really could have just kept going with the Revvl using my SIM card. Like there really wasn't, this is what was beautiful about using this, was there really wasn't much holding me back from just a normal smartphone experience. Obviously I'm not producing 4K video from this like I do on my premium phones.
And to keep in mind, that was my expectation. I wasn't trying to use it the same way I would think I would expect to use a Note 10 or even any of the other devices. There is a certain expectation of what you can do with it. So how long were you able to keep it in?
I went 3 days with this using the SIM card, and like I said, I would have been fine. Like I could have gone longer if it hadn't been for other reviews coming up. It wasn't the phone can't get my daily communications gig done. Let me pull out this card, and even down into things like snapping some photos. Like the camera's fine. It's not.
Oh no,
amazeballs,
we're not looking to have flagship type cameras here, but.
But when Lex was sort of sitting still, I got a couple photos of her that looked pretty good.
How long did you have to wait between snapping the picture and the picture being taken?
Actually, if you just want to see.
Because for me, it's like literally 3 or 4 seconds. Even just to open an application. Okay, so let's see. So this is pretty much a quick test. This is Juan Carlos not moving. We're going to just do a tap to focus. Yeah, that was way too fast.
Compared to what I gave you.
This is actually a usable picture, man. That is a usable picture. That is just, So for me, okay, so my challenge was to start off with it the next morning. So what I did is obviously after we had the nice little debacle with the whole removable back, I went home, charged the device, made sure that the back wasn't falling off again, because it came off with the sticker that was on it. It didn't come off because I was trying to. And I tried to remove it again. It doesn't come off.
The back is not designed to come off.
No. It's a shiny back, but not designed.
This one, hold on, where's
I think yours does.
Yeah, this one does, but it's just funny that you can't do anything.
I know.
Like
well, it's meant for the SD card. I think that's the most.
Which is just, that's hilarious too. It's you want to change, you want to put in a memory card.
Well,
you obviously just tear the back off of your phone.
If you need more storage than the 32 gigabytes of internal storage that I got you there,
I mean, who could use more than 32 gig? It's crazy pants.
That's why the iPhones start at 64.
Dropping some knowledge.
It's 2019. We still have 64 gig iPhones being sold for $1,100.
I've spent
but that's a
way
conversation.
Too much time over
That's a conversation for a different video.
Fans.
I lasted for about a couple of days, and it was pushing it for the couple of days because what happened is to use it as my daily driver, I need to be able to take pictures, product pictures for videos. Couldn't do that. And I wanted to be able to basically post to Instagram, Twitter, and all of that stuff. it loads. I'm able to install the applications, but I quickly ran out of patience for the application. It's not that I couldn't use it. It just, because of the latency in the response, or also the false touches. Like I'll touch where I want it, it doesn't open it, or if it does open it, it's slow. It became more of a labor.
In our first sit down, we instantly ran into that. Like I touched on an app, and it just seemed to sit there. So I would go to touch again, and just as I was touching again,
it pops up.
The app that you initially launched popped up, and then you were messing with stuff in the app because you're touching the screen.
And the experience kind of just goes from there. I think this is, I'm not trying to badmouth the actual device. The device itself definitely has a certain market, or there is actually a customer that could basically use this device. Somebody that just wants the phone, that just basically just does phone functions, like phone calls. Sound was decent. It wasn't loud. There's no stereo speakers, but it was decent for speaker conversations. We have 3 cameras in the back. Only one of them works. We don't have 3 cameras in the back, so that's part of the other thing. This was not a speaker. I think this was aesthetics. I could not figure out what it does.
Okay.
There's no depth. It does have HDR processing for images, but it does this weird, I guess I want to say seeking. That's the best way, because I'm comparing it to a DSLR. Like when you're trying to take a picture, let me go ahead and unlock this super fast bad boy for you. So we have face unlock. It is so secure it doesn't work.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, that's the best kind of security. Is a lock that will never let you into it.
So you have to always put
is an unbreakable lock.
And
I mean, it's just a beautiful device.
The UI is not bad. I mean,
I was actually very surprised that swiping through the UI was functional.
It was. That's why. So when I first saw it, and it was like, okay, this is decent. You swipe up for gestures. There was no updates. There's nothing obviously to look into that.
I love that they did a triple camera, but they're fake.
And it has a 3.5mm headphone jack, which is nice. Here, so let's go.
Oh, you're backlit. So
I was gonna say, this is gonna be a great picture.
This is not gonna.
Let's see that HDR kick in. No, just give it a second. Let it focus and see how that whole zooming in and out does.
Oh yeah, it's doing that weird pulse.
Yeah, every time you try to take a picture, you can't. And so try to take that of your kid.
Okay, no, hold still. Wow, that's bad.
So like I said, for me, not that it didn't work, it just was a very big, I would say, challenge for the most part, just to do daily activities with it. And that's why I ended up basically lasting about a couple of days for the weekend. So I started the next morning, and then I think by Saturday and midday, almost close to mid-afternoon, I swapped my, it just wasn't doable. I tried taking pictures of my son. I tried even just went outside to take a picture of a flower, and on the screen, it looked like it was focusing on on the petals, and then when I took a picture, it was focused in the background. Because as I snapped the picture, it did a focus issue, and my hand, I guess, moved because it's one of those devices.
It overreacted to a very small change in your composition.
Exactly. So, and it just literally shot the picture, and then you try to look at it outside. The visibility is not the best, so it's a challenge. I think it's a great indoor, maybe media consumption device if you want to watch YouTube videos. Stuff like that, maybe.
Because I've always had a hard time with this recommendation, because I've seen this before too. Like maybe you want to get a kid a first starter phone, or you're worried about a grandparent. You don't want to spend a lot of money and they're going to freak out about modern technology.
Yeah.
But I've always had a hard time with those arguments, because the people who have the least amount of understanding in operating tech on a daily basis probably aren't the ones
to give them something that could have problems,
that could have issues. So
that's why I kind of meant it in the sense of limiting what you do with it. So I probably would say this is great for, like, your kid's first phone. If you're on a trip and you don't want to buy an iPad, $50, it's a decent sized screen. Lock it in.
If they smash it, you're not going to be too sad.
And because I've had it in the past where it's happened. Long time ago, my son threw, I forgot, was it like an S5 or an S6? All across from our second story to the ground, and that thing got shattered. Now, luckily, I had insurance, but again, I've had that happen again years later with a $250 phone, and even then, I was like, my heart just kind of like stopped.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you're going to start teaching your child responsibility and giving them hardware, but also being okay in case that hardware goes out, because just be realistic, things will happen.
Totally.
And I would rather have it done to the XGoddy over the either Note 10 and reality is a lot of parents hand $1,200 phones to kids in the back seat.
Totally.
That's
we're starting to run into some of that with Lex. because there are a few like
because it's hard.
art and sketching apps that she really likes. And if it weren't for what is it, the Huawei Media Pad?
That's exactly what I had
like,
it. That's where my son's now.
We'd be giving her iPhones and LGs and stuff.
And I feel like it's a hard expectation, because you also are teaching your kids as they get older is that, well, I need to have the $1,100 iPhone because that's how my games run. But they're playing Bejeweled, and I'm not trying to downplay the. No, that's a different conversation.
It's funny because it's like that meme image of the kid with a broadsword, But I need to play Bejeweled, and you're like, so you need a $1,200 phone?
Yeah, so.
I need an RTX graphics card for my Minecraft.
Because I need ray tracing, my friend.
I need all the rays traced.
I need ray tracing, and I need this, the super. I think the overall experience, had it not been productivity level intensive. Again, I run my channel for the most part 90% out of my phone. Other than rendering the video and producing it on my PC.
Which you should be doing on the phone anyway.
And I can do on the phone, and I've actually produced the video, the last one we did together, that was actually entirely shot on the S10e, not the Plus or the Standard, the E, the smaller of the three. It's totally doable and it's functional. And I think I even saw Michael Fisher did a video on the Note 10 Plus.
Yeah, finally.
His last, almost like part 2 5G thing. So the short answer, and plus Dex.
I mean, my first video produced mobile was on, what was it? Is it
the LG
P9?
Oh man, you went down on the P.
So I covered the Oppo launch. What was the Oppo that was the sister phone to the OnePlus 5?
Oh man, it's definitely not the R7. The R7 is.
So I was super nervous about, because I'd never flown into China before, so I didn't bring laptops and stuff.
Yeah.
So I did that whole video, and I think I did it on either the P. No, it was on the P10 Plus.
Okay.
So a little bit more powerful.
I was gonna say the P9 is pretty old. I have the P9 at home, and I'm like, how did you do it on the P9?
But yeah, so the P10 Plus was my first, and actually just I had to make a video out in the field, made it out in the field, and it looked
totally
pretty good. So.
I think my only limitation with mobile editing at this point, and I think it's been mostly the amount of. I feel like I'm more.
It's how ridiculously slow iPhones are at rendering video. I know, it's such a bummer.
I was so surprised, actually. Yeah. Let's talk about that. Tell me what you think. I don't think I caught any of your tweets or conversations.
Certainly not.
Because I was not tagged in any of them.
50 hours of Twitter drama. No, I'm sorry, you were making a point.
No. My thing would be is this. I think this phone does have a market, and I think at the price point for $50, $50, $70, I think it's a great starter phone. I wouldn't necessarily give this to my parents, because I can see myself being.
I have different expectations.
Yeah, I would be like tech support to my mom all the time to try to just get the phone running. But it did what it was supposed to. It's just not a powerhouse. That's and again, like I said, for what I needed it for, I need to be able to run multiple applications and not have the phone freeze. So
I think that's part of the issue that I want to get at. I think when we have that debate at higher price tiers, there are ideas that we're all trying to get at. We have a winner-loser mentality in tech right now. It's like whatever's SEO popular on YouTube is going to get way more praise than something that's less popular because of the algorithm.
I don't feel like there's losers. I think it's
there are lots of losers.
Well, so
do a video on an Xperia and you'll see nothing but Sony still makes phones. Comments.
Sony, if you're watching, please.
You should hook this dude up. Because if anyone should be playing with an Xperia 5, it's this guy.
We should be.
But the point that I'm trying to get at is the nuance of a conversation about fitting the right features to the right consumer has never been devalued more in the current tech conversation. So when we have that, do you get a Pixel 3a or do you get a Pixel 3 on sale kind of conversation, you get a lot of sort of shallowly informed opinions from people who bought one of those phones and now they're more defending their choice than they are rationally comparing.
Yeah, I think it's more about I bought my phone at $700 and you're buying yours for $300 or $399, yeah, whatever.
Or I can get this phone on sale for only $100 more than your phone at full retail, ignoring the fact that that phone goes on sale too.
Yeah.
Like my sister got a Pixel 3a for $100 off and 2 months of Google Fi service. So show me the Pixel 3 that can match that price.
No, no, and
You know, so I mean, it's never the $400 for a Pixel. You just wait and you buy it on sale and it's used and you jump through a whole bunch of hoops and you trade in another phone. You can get a Pixel 3 for half the price.
Yeah, but that argument could be made for almost any other phone, right?
That's the
yeah.
point. So again, I mean, like right here in the live chat, we've got Matt Tyler saying,
hey,
like,
man, how you been?
hey Matt, you know, so like a phone like an LG G5. In the UK, he can find an LG G5 for like £50.
So, okay, don't take this the wrong way. Of all LGs, that's the one I generally would not recommend to anybody. I would say go for the LG G4.
Actually,
you had a better
to
chance.
be fair, in terms of long-term reliability, the only LG I've ever had problems with was the G5.
It drove me crazy with the
tough.
misalignment of the bottom socket to the whole. No,
Did you get any of the Pocket Now G5s?
No.
At one point, I had 3 and only one of them worked.
I'll have to double check.
But check them out. You might.
I might still.
ridiculous box of old busted phones that I gave back to
yeah.
Pocket Now. You might have a couple paperweights in that box. The G6 was such a revelation after coming off
what I would
the
say
G5.
is yes. If you have an opportunity, go for the G6. Pay that extra $20 or 20 euros. You'll thank me later.
A refurbished LG G8 was on Amazon recently for $175. Give it a minute. You'll get some great phones for cheap. But this is kind of where I'm coming back.
G8.
The T-Mobile refurb was $175 on Amazon.
That's this year's.
This year's LG. I mean, it's $500 now.
Oh no, don't get me wrong. No,
but,
I realize
But the refurbs are now sub
whole...
200. So again, trying to ascribe value to this stuff is also a losing proposition. It's worse than like
it's a bit hard.
Oh, but my resale value. That argument really hasn't held water for a while.
Well, if you buy the phone thinking to sell it, then you're obviously not doing it. You're not buying it for what's intended.
Well, but I think again for enthusiasts, it's the notion that you're going to use it for a year and then get something new.
It's a very niche, specific.
Oh, totally. Because we know consumers are now starting to try and push 3 years.
No, exactly. On average, you see people still rocking the. I want to say the iPhone 5. I've seen people with the iPhone 4. Oh,
totally.
I'm surprised it still works.
The iPhone 5 to the iPhone SE are the absolute best iPhones ever made.
And I was so sad I haven't seen.
I mean, my iPhone SE is almost always within arm's reach. It's right there. I can see it. Because that phone is awesome.
It is.
And Apple should come out with an SE2. And they should listen to me, and everything would be better. To this point right here.
Yeah. No.
So I've played with it was another CoolPad. It was a CoolPad that launched at $40.
I heard actually LG was
like
another CoolPad.
Android One. Not Android One. What is
don't say
Android? Is it Android One? Is the lowest Android Go?
Oh, yeah, Android Go. Yeah.
So $40 Android Go device. It made phone calls and you could text message on it. That's about as much expectation as I could have at $40, and the phone met those expectations. But we're talking super low that it can do anything. It's essentially
what an old flip phone or an old, device that used to. It does what it's supposed to. It sends and receives text messages.
So I think you're being very kind here. I'm actually starting to have a hard time with some of these kinds of imports coming to the United States.
Yeah, because this was definitely not made for the U.S.
Definitely not.
The internet speeds, the bands on this thing don't support higher connectivity.
And the amount of material that goes into it, the battery, the construction, and ultimately arriving at a device that I don't feel would fulfill much longevity of use.
No. This has a very short life.
This is where I become way more positive. At the budget end of the spectrum, way more positive on finding an old mid-ranger.
But keep in mind, this was intended for the U.S. market.
No. But I mean, let's say someone made this phone in the U.S. and that it properly supported all of the bands on your carrier. This experience where in peeling a sticker, the back came off, the cameras are barely functional, the UI is navigatable, but apps struggle to load.
Launching and multitasking is a whole
even though it's now gone through those expected price drops because of its age, launched at a higher price than this.
Which was the
sold
surprise.
For use.
Yeah, and then that's what I was like, I could not believe that I was able to get it cheaper. It's just the opposite, yeah.
Right. So the risk here is that you've got to find someone reputable to buy from on a service like eBay or Swappa.
So that's why I like. Well, I actually prefer Swappa over eBay, but yes,
Totally.
as long as you're trusting of the service that you're using to get a phone, and also you get a chance to talk to the seller. I mean, in this situation, we picked it up. I think you picked it up off of Amazon. There really isn't that much of a recourse with Amazon as much, especially if you buy it from a third-party seller and it's not part of Prime. It's almost a horrible experience trying to return anything. But we weren't, the expectation, the bar was pretty low, honestly. The reason I say that it's good for if you're giving it to a 4-year-old or a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old, that's literally all they're going to do is sit on YouTube Kids. That is pretty low as far as expectation. I mean,
no,
right?
so it meets that.
Yeah,
it meets that.
That's
but I also have that philosophical problem of how many people are really going to take the care. Like, for example, are you going to pay to recycle this phone?
No.
Are you going to drive out to the North Valley to that one free e-waste recycling center? This phone isn't going to stay in your collection.
Well, no, and it isn't. And we were. We said that at the beginning. We said that at the first time.
We are giving these phones away.
Yeah. We are not.
Whether or not you want the XGoddy.
What's wrong with the XGoddy, man? It's an XGoddy.
But that's what I'm saying is.
It's shiny.
So, if I had my druthers.
Yeah.
And obviously I am not indicative of the average consumer when I've got a shelf of old phones that if Lex were to use one and smash it, I'd be a little sad, but it wouldn't be like, oh no, that was our backup phone for the family kind of a situation.
Which a lot of people do have. Yeah, you're right.
But you're totally correct. I could give Lex this phone and she could stream YouTube on it. And that would be probably terrible parenting, but it would fulfill that use. Again, I'm talking sort of larger and philosophically.
We're not trying to get into the electronics babysitting.
Instead, this phone, I could go to Swappa, buy a used mid-ranger.
Yeah.
I take the risk that maybe it's not as good as the seller advertised it to be, and then I would be out the time in trying to get my money back or returning it.
I would probably say even snap a case on it. It wouldn't even know if there's any cosmetic things. That was my main thing.
But I mean, even if it's a functional issue. So occasionally you run into or it gets busted in shipping. Something happens.
Something happened, unfortunately, yes.
I mean, not to say that couldn't have happened for the XGoddy. The back came off minutes after you opened a new box.
That was definitely a QC problem right there.
Big time. But not only could my daughter achieve the exact same media consumption.
Better, actually.
This would be so much better. There's a memory game that she likes to play on Android. It's really, really simple flashcards with little animals on them.
Yeah.
There's an alphabet tracing game. Like she's not yet 4, and she can write Alexandra Marie Bagnell. And in part of that is she's been playing these games where she can trace letters on her mom's phone screen. That app works really well on this. There's like a little coloring book app. So she's understanding technology as a content creation source.
This is their
that this would never be able to do.
No. So that was my thing. I stopped when I said YouTube. It's because
that's it.
That's it. I would not try to. There is a touch latency issue. There's also a false touch issue. The cameras on this aren't usable. There's just a lot of. Yeah, I wouldn't go buy it. But to answer your question, I wouldn't even go out to try to recycle it.
Right.
Just for the effort that it takes. I mean,
my philosophical fear is so many devices like this are just going to end up in landfills. Because for the consumer who's dealing with getting something like this, it won't even be worth.
Or even companies that make these things and have them sit on shelves.
To drive out and find the appropriate recycling center. I mean, like right behind you, I've got a stack of stuff that we're going to go drive out to the North Valley because there's this one taxpayer-funded free resource for us to properly dispose of chemicals and electronics and stuff. And honestly, while we said we were going to give these out, and I think that there still could be someone who could use this, my fear would be someone gets it and they just smash it.
Well, that or they get it and they get super disappointed with what they were,
because if you look at the listing for this, it's they call it a mate.
Well, so in their defense, in these settings, when you go into the settings,
it's called the Mate.
It's called the Mate RS, which coincidentally is a very expensive phone from Huawei that was released, I want to say last year. And
so like Steve Becker on Twitch is saying, if I won the gold phone, I'd do a smash test on it.
I think you'd get more enjoyment out of that than I was able to get on there. But at that point,
but again,
then you're creating more
e-waste.
Yeah. No, it's exactly.
So there's a part of me that has that philosophical problem. I mean, like, after the novelty, after the amusement of finding the shiniest, prettiest, cheap phone I could kind of wore off, after our trade, I actually did kind of struggle with, like, but I'm kind of supporting garbage. You know, like, I'm not that person who wants to go out there and just badmouth phones, but this is one situation where I feel the consumer is so much better served
by just going with a used.
By going used from the mid-range, if you're really looking for that
and it could
budget option.
And it still could be an upgrade to what you have if you think about it.
Totally.
Because if you think about it on a 2-year cycle, let's say you were on an S7 and you're ready to go basically on the S10 right now. But if you get an S9, it's actually not a bad phone. It's actually pretty, and it still gets updates. It did get a One UI update. It still functions, still gets a security patch update. And so
they gutted all the camera features in it. Samsung's on point.
That's one thing that
I'm sorry, I'm going to keep derailing you there, but
it's always going to be that way.
But to your point.
To my point is, I think the reality is, I would have rather gone with the way we did it, the way I did it on your end.
Yeah.
Getting an older device used, obviously it's been used. It's not through its it's gone through its prime time and all of that. But even then, it's a mid-ranger, and it still works well as a mid-ranger even today. And that was my only challenge. Is if it had functioned the way the Revvl the Revvl did, I would have been more happy to stick with it for a little bit longer.
The more I spent time with this phone, it really kind of struck me. It's kind of a shame that TCL from the Idol 3 on just didn't get the coverage that I think they really deserved.
Well, they're getting back into it though.
One hopes.
Well, at IFA,
what was the phone that they put out? It's like a triple camera.
It's a hold on.
I think Josh spent some time with it.
We also did at XDA.
But anyway,
they're getting back into the mobile.
So
device.
From the Idol 3 to the Idol 4, these phones performed so much better than I think the expectations were. But it was trying to get that message to break through. I don't know that any manufacturer has really found a great killer hook. I think the closest is Motorola. Like, they've got momentum on.
They were able to restructure and then go, and especially with their one device, the one line of devices. I think they fixed that one, and it's called the TCL Plex.
Plex.
That's what I was like, because I kept confusing that with the Plex server. And
is a terrible name for a phone because there's already a product in technology called Plex,
which works with TCL TVs, which is this. But yeah,
so weird, not good TCL.
But it was nice.
But that's
to see
not
them in the field
faulting the actual device. I mean,
no.
The Idol 3 I think is still my wife's all-time favorite phone.
That's nice.
The tiny little plastic-backed stereo speaker.
Front
she
facing,
loved that phone, and it was like the perfect phone for her little hands. Stereo speakers, front facing.
The right way to do it.
The only correct way to do dual speaker audio.
I saw a comment where somebody was asking about the ROG phone too. I was like,
it's like slightly different tier of device than what we're talking about in this podcast. But we'll save a little time here because we're kind of wrapping up.
For the price point that I got the ROG phone to, you could have considered it a mid-ranger at that price. But
that's true. TK maybe won a little gray market on getting that phone out of.
I just went with the Tencent edition, the Chinese edition version of the phone, and then I did the exact same thing. I bought it used.
Yes.
I don't have a problem buying used phones. I actually think it's a good market because I buy phones and I sell phones all the time. So yes, by the time I'm selling them, they're used, but they're still good.
You know, that's actually a good topic for a debate. Is phone leasing versus flipping and buying used? Because you're
I do both.
Well,
I'm both. Yeah, I would never recommend leasing to anybody. JOD.
You need it because it's a part of what you do.
It's a business thing.
For a business
so for me, to get phones on T-Mobile in a reasonable amount of time without having to upfront the cost of the phone, because I know I'm going to switch that phone within 3 months or even more faster depending on the time. Leasing makes sense to me. It's a business expense.
But I think that should be another.
We should have that conversation. Should you consider buying the phone outright, or should you lease it, or should you finance it? Because there's, it's like a car, right? I mean, who's getting the better deal?
Yeah, okay, so that's I don't do the debates very often, but I'm going to do.
We have to do a debate. Let us know in the comments. Put a comment down there. Let us know if you think it's a good. This one could be a We'd have to set up.
We need to come back to. I really think we need to come back to purpose-built mid-ranger versus last year's flagship.
I think that's a very good. Yeah.
It's always worth revisiting. That's an ongoing debate that every year we've got different data points.
Well,
but that one, phone leasing versus buying used, is kind of huge.
Or even buying new, even if you're considering it. Like if you're thinking of buying a brand new phone, do you lease it or do you buy it? What's the purpose? What's the end product? What's the end goal? So as I said, for me, I do both, and I do end up using Jump on Demand. I find that that's actually a great deal for what I need it for. But if I wasn't doing videos and I wasn't trying to change phones for the sake of getting access to new hardware, I definitely would not have been doing the Jump on Demand. I think that's for the amount of money I owe at the end of the 18 months, with the fact that I've been making monthly payments on the phone from the initial point of reference. Actually, I feel like I should have been done paying for it, but no, you still have.
So Matt Tyler on Twitch is asking, what does flip a phone mean? It's where you hold the phone in one hand and you fling it, sort of like a flapjack, perfect, and then you catch it, and that's flipping a phone.
Yeah.
Matt Tyler's in the UK. They have a lot of those buying and selling homes TV shows. I think flipping, is that not a UK term where you buy something and then you sell it?
I'm pretty sure it is.
And then you use what you made from selling it to go buy the next thing.
I'm assuming it's just a terminology, but for the most part, yeah.
I thought that was a saying that I don't know. I thought it would. If it doesn't cross the Atlantic, that's on me. That's not.
If Missy Elliott didn't set it up correctly,
flip it and reverse it. I've been on a big classic. Missy Elliott hip hop.
Yeah. No. I watched. No.
Have you seen Hip Hop Evolution on Netflix?
No, I haven't seen that one. But
so
I saw her on the VMAs. That's the only, she got on the VMA. Like, what? Missy Elliott is there. So but in short, for what I do, I generally buy phones. Yeah, a lot of people have questions like, how do you get access to phones all the time?
A lot of them we buy.
We buy, and seriously, within a few weeks after we initially buy it,
you can kind of tell when we get a loaner because it's like, I've got 3 weeks. What do you want to know?
Yeah, no. So those are the general things. It's if you have a loaner, you don't own the phone, and you have a certain amount of time, and then obviously after a certain amount of time, people start asking questions that you don't have the hardware. But when you're buying it and selling it, that's the flipping part of what we need to do. So the cost. The money that you bought this phone, whatever comes back to you, you have to add more money to that and buy the next one, and keep rolling it forward, in the hope that you try to meet your expectations for your channel. I'm not going to try to stay with the trend because that's impossible.
Nope.
You could try to basically, as long as you're meeting what you want to set out for your channel, then it works. And I think Jump on Demand for me, as far as leasing of the device from my carrier, works for me mostly because there's just too many phones. There's just way too many phones.
Too many phones.
First world problems. Not that we're gonna sing, but yeah, I think it's a good option if you're trying to run a YouTube channel, but understand the expense that comes with it, because it's not always free. It's not always a free jump from one phone to another. Sometimes there's a down payment.
Well, I was gonna say it's not only that. It's usually like you pay first and last month's rent and tax.
Yeah, it's kind of like an apartment, a little bit.
You invest in a phone that you probably won't fully recoup the costs.
Especially not on a lease. I would finance it, but anyway. I think we should do that as a separate conversation. I think this challenge was interesting at best for me.
I learned a lot on this challenge by not being on the receiving end of the XGoddy. But again, so a lot of what I take away.
The more you know, my friend.
Yeah, totally.
The more you know.
The more I take away from this, especially why I was so interested in doing this showdown with you. We spend so much time on the premium end of the market. Yeah. It's very easy to lose sight of. For me, it's $400 and under. North America is not a great market.
$400, I think, is
under $400.
Yeah, it's very few, and I think the 3A, I mean, that broke into it with $1 less kind of thing, if you just full retail kind of thing, but that was by far, like, of this year, the biggest surprise.
Totally.
To date, because I even took it with me to Tokyo. So, and I think a few weeks ago when we did the whole Pixel thing, right? Somebody was asking us like, "What? How many of you really use the phone?" Well, you're like, I actually for nighttime photography.
I brought the 3A to a Team Pixel meetup.
Yeah, no, and I brought my 3A XL at the time, but I was running Android Q Beta on it, which there was some behind the scene little shenanigans. I couldn't find the setting.
TK was silly.
I like betas. But yeah, the device actually is a very nice. It's a very surprisingly
Totally.
well.
Now, but I like for people out there watching. I mean,
Yeah.
the mid-ranger market in the United States, I would say you've got at the high end the Pixel 3a. You can get a Sony. Was it the
That's
Xperia
true.
10?
Yeah, there's
You
the
can get a Moto.
Moto for sure, actually, yeah.
And now, I mean, I've got it right over
there
here.
are also some
is
LG, the Stylo.
Stylo 4. Is that what we're on?
I want to say, yeah.
And that's
T-Mobile
around a
carrier.
$300.
Yeah, so
and then
there's some
the Revvl Plus. So off the top of our heads,
yeah,
gadget nerds extraordinaire, we came up with 4 phones.
Just from actual,
as compared to like a UK or EU market or an Asian market where you've
India.
got Xiaomi's and Oppos and Blues and
no, there's Realme, there's Vivo, there's a whole bunch of different. I mean, there is the Indian market right now is being flooded with devices way too fast. Like they're launching phones like up to 3 or 4 phones, but that's a different conversation.
We don't want that problem.
No,
but there's got to be what we want is that happy medium where I've got more than one phone at a carrier to recommend under $400.
When you go into the store or you go
and right now, what it's maybe a Moto G7. You might see a Moto G7 in an AT&T store.
I want to say I've seen more when I was browsing one time through Verizon's site.
Let me get the Revelry. You keep talking.
No, there's more options and you can go in, but when you go into the physical brick and mortar store, that's really where it gets a little bit challenging, right? Because you're fighting for. Wow, that is nice. Sorry, guys, 1 second.
Sorry, $350 phone, and it just.
It has my initial on it. It has my initial on it, although not my name. And it has stock Android. Look at that. That is fast, man. What the heck? So what I was talking about mostly is when you go into the physical brick and mortar store, you're always having basically a real estate challenge, right? The stores can only carry a certain number of devices. What do they carry?
Matt Tyler just reminded me we do get Nokia here too.
Nokia still exists?
See? So when you're out there and you're thinking about phones and stuff, everyone's like, oh, Sony still makes phones.
Sorry.
And TK just made the same joke about Nokia. Nokia 7.2. It's a good phone.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no.
Maybe you can even get a good deal on a Nokia 9.
I did spend some time with that. That was...
No, it just makes me sad we haven't seen any progress on the camera since when you had the phone.
Very mixed emotional...
All I gotta say is, why is Apple got to keep copying Nokia with this like cryptophobia?
I want to see that camera array on an iPhone,
right?
and watch Tim Cook go up there and just explain how that's the best revolution.
So we've got a question here from Steve Q3 Becker. I was always curious what would be a better choice between the Pixel 2 or the Pixel 3a. My feeling would be, if you like to play games on your phone, lean Pixel 2.
Yeah, because the A25 would still be, or is it A30?
A35.
Yeah.
The A35 still has a beefier GPU, but the Pixel 3a hangs with or slightly outperforms the CPU. Yeah, I haven't. No, I turned them off. I just went to double tap on the power button.
Oh yeah, I got that.
And just as a matter of convenience, I would give the Pixel 3a a subtle nod just for the headphone jack. So you have Pixel 2 power with the convenience of an adequate headphone jack.
It's a decent experience. I think I would say that, yeah. I think it depends on what your expectations, what you need, but either or, I think you can definitely get a good experience. I think the Pixel 2, especially with the fact that they're still getting updates, you're getting Android 10 ahead of everybody else.
Now, I think the test I wrote up an editorial on the website, somegadgetguy.com. Check it out. The thing that actually did impress me, Google, this round was the cheaper phones and the older phones did not get delayed.
No, my Pixel 3a XL got the update ahead of my Pixel 3.
Yeah.
And I was like,
so
how did that happen?
That makes me feel a lot more confident now. So I've got 3 family members that are using Pixel 3as.
Yeah.
Off of my recommendation, and on day one, they all got the same updates as the more expensive and the newer.
And I like the update. I think this was definitely better than they used to do it before, because we used to have a staggered release. It used to be available only for like the last year's flagship, and then you had to wait a little bit longer and you get it on other devices. And even OnePlus pushed out an updated public beta, which is nice.
is it open beta?
Mm-hmm.
Was that what they call it now?
Yes.
So yeah, so I'm running the open beta 10 on my OnePlus. Surprisingly good.
Stable.
I did all of that video testing on the desktop mode with the dev preview 5.
Yeah, no, I remember you mentioned that. Yeah.
Open beta is nice.
It is.
That's one of the better experiences I've had running.
But to speak of the device, the company that holds up as far as device, buying a OnePlus 6 from last year, still a banging device. Buying a OnePlus 5, you're still not going to be the. I mean, I would say the 5T as opposed to that jelly effect with the 5.
The 3T got Pi, right?
It did.
Yeah.
It did. That's actually, I got Pi on it before I sold it. I still had a 3T. So it tells you its longevity, and even if you bought one from last year, you would save so much money and still get everything you want. And it's support. Manufacturers have to support it.
So we've got Capicitan. I don't know how to say. I don't know how to say names. That was as close as I could get. Why are you acting like you can't order Xiaomi phones in the U.S. from GearBest or AliExpress? So when you talk to your grandmother, about buying a phone, you tell her to go get a Chinese import where she can't take it to a carrier and get any kind of support.
Well, I also wanted to correct him that you can actually buy it in the U.S. Xiaomi does actually sell in the U.S.
Do they?
Mm-hmm. The Mi 9 and the Mi 9T.
Seriously?
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea. Okay, well,
that's
another one that
it's
we
part
missed
of
in
the
our initial list of what could be a lower cost phone.
Well,
but you tell her to go to AliExpress.
Yeah.
And that when she has a problem, she can't turn to anyone else for help. She probably won't really have any kind of regional warranty support.
No, that was the other thing.
If there's a problem with the phone,
exactly.
you can try and talk to her on the phone, hopefully, if the phone still works.
Yeah.
With the problem that she's having.
You have to understand the consumer, the general consumer that will look for a phone at the price point of where the Xiaomi one's coming out.
The point I'm making is if you're watching a gadget stream on YouTube, you're not the person who needs to know about mid-ranger phones that you can actually buy with USA warranties. We're the people who make recommendations to our other family and friends.
Exactly.
And we need to know what other phones might be good options because a number of my relationships would prefer not spending $1,000 on their next phone.
And in general, I think it's a specific market of people that want to be able to get that device, the next iPhone. But I did see one comment that I really, really want to touch base on.
Oh yeah, what's that?
It's a PH. You can actually get the PH1, the Essential Phone 1.
Steve, Q3 Becker on Twitch.
Yeah, 240.
Also, thumbs up for the Essential PH1. Do you think this is going to be the last year they get an OS update?
I'm worried that
I'm shocked it got Android 10.
right away.
Like
who?
people were showing off
they
Android
barely did
10
anything.
on the PH1 before some Pixel owners were doing it. It was hilarious.
So to me, that device surprises me, and I'm really sad that we don't have a PH2. That's CAD brand. It's newer.
Oh, CAD. Yeah. There's now less than a year after release. So I'm trying to rack my brain if there are any others. We've got Nokia, we've got Motorola.
It would be a nice surprise announcement. Sorry, it's just
Essential 2.
Yeah, it would be nice.
It would be really nice if we got an Essential 2
we wake up one day and they're like, surprise!
I don't know, man. I just after Andy Rubin's personal issues too, I just don't think that's.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that with all the turmoil that's going around it, the company itself is not going to. It may come from somebody else, but not from them.
So, and this is from Goran Petrovic, and this is one of the things. Not to pick on you, Goran, but this is one of the things that I hope some experiences like this can help inform.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's not, oh, haha, 2 YouTubers who use flagship phones have to slum it. It's this changed my perspective on what a used mid-ranger could deliver a consumer in a pinch. Yeah. Someone who literally can't spend beyond this. That's the person who's most vulnerable when they go to a carrier store. When you see that terrible plastic display at like a Target full of like $50 and $60 phones, and you know they're all garbage.
Like even your grocery store has them now. Ralph's has them.
Yeah,
you walk right up to a cash register.
Disposable phones that come in plastic clear clamshell packaging. You probably have someone in your circles of family and friends. So I'm sorry, I should get to
Canadian
Goran's comment was for $150, you can't have too many expectations. Last year's flagship would be the best choice if he can find something close to that price.
I agree. That's a good recommendation.
And here's where I really want to start changing that perception. At $50, this was a great phone.
Mm-hmm. It's a great buy, and to date, it's still actually a good recommendation.
It's still a very good performer for really getting stuff done.
Mm-hmm.
You're just off the upgrade train. There's no software support coming to this
I would not
device
expect this
at all
being
anymore. As a compromise for someone looking to only spend $50, you're not going to get software support from a plastic clamshell phone.
No,
at a Target.
But
Nothing's going to happen
like
for
you
that
said,
phone.
if your budget only allows you to spend $50, don't go for. Definitely go for like maybe last year or 2 years ago's device used, and make sure you get it from a reputable source that you can actually trust. Especially if you
or that you have
online,
some kind of like, I can dispute this with PayPal if it's
something.
not what was
No,
expected.
exactly.
Something like that.
eBay allows you to do it, but as well as I think with Swappa also their support team will jump into the conversation, because I've had it one time where I bought a phone that was T-Mobile branded, and later on was discovered that it was basically a reported stolen phone that was, anyways, it was returned. I got my money back. Short answer is make sure you know where you're getting it from, but that is much better. A $50 phone that does what the Revvl was doing here is definitely a very nice phone, and the brand new version of the Revvl will probably even have the same type of longevity. It's a great phone, great set of features, and runs really good. You get LTE still. I mean, come on. Not 5G.
But this is also one of those things where I feel like general consumers, average consumers, really aren't listening to techies right now, because I think for a point we've been a bit insufferable about, well, you go on a phone leasing program, or you're only going to pay $40 a month, and you should get the nice phone, blah, 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 blah. There is someone in your circle of family and friends, you might not totally know what their situation is like.
Yeah, and they could not afford
those solutions
40,
really aren't
30,
feasible.
20, or even right now, this is $50 a month, guys. This is not cheap. I like it. It's not a bad phone, and it does everything I need it to do.
Every month, you could buy one of these for 24 months?
18 months.
18 months.
The jump
Okay.
on the men is 18, but I'm probably not going to carry this more than 2 months.
You could buy 18 of these.
You own 18 of these. You're not leasing them.
I'm
Because I
not-
still own money at the end of the 18 months. If I kept this for the 18 months through the lease,
And you'd
then there's a
still need
buyout
to
fee.
buy
Yeah.
it out.
No, the hole
Okay.
keeps getting
Deeper. Yeah.
Yeah. So this episode brought to you by TK's Misery.
Right. Our misery is your joy. So enjoy those videos because they're not always easy to produce.
It's hard to find the time. That's realistically what it is. We live close to each other, but timing is always crazy. And I literally started like around 4:30 this morning, and I've been like go, and I was really late to come and meet with Juan.
I mean, we were planning lunch after this. I don't know.
I gotta.
Was it mukbang or something like that?
We were gonna bring ASMR mukbang style, maybe lobster bake or something like right there.
I could go for a lobster roll though.
Dude, there's a good ramen restaurant right down the street from you here in
it
Sherman
is.
Oaks. Oh my God, it's called. We went there last weekend. I don't know if you've been there. It's called Yok. The best.
We might need to go make a ramen run.
Oh man, I want to go back there. Yes.
You can tell it's time to start wrapping up
Yes.
a live stream when we get to what our menu options will be after the show.
Please let me know in the comment which kind of ramen would you like.
I'm gonna sort of to let you sort of get the last word in.
Thank you.
This started out obviously as kind of a playful or a cheeky way to just do something a little different with phones and to play around with price tiers that we usually don't live in for very long.
Yeah.
My takeaway, again, kind of reiterating what I was saying before, my main takeaway on this is there is a functional argument to be made for a sub $100, a purpose-built sub $100 phone.
Not a used.
Not a used
price. Yeah.
No one else has messed with it. You got to peel off all of the wrapper
And the back,
and the back of the phone. And that you can do some things that are very surprising in terms of aesthetics. That the phone arrived prettier than I thought it would.
From the pictures, I was expecting something. Yeah.
A lot. Again, the look of it at least kind of walks the walk. No, wait, it kind of talks the talk, even though it doesn't completely walk the walk.
Yeah.
Terrible, Juan, terrible. But that's also where I think I'm going to be way more defensive of my family and friends in a kind of buyer beware state, that the risk on something like this to me is greater than the risk on buying used.
It is a much bigger risk, especially if you don't have a way of communicating with the seller. Especially when
totally.
Yeah, no. I think it was a great experiment. Like I said, I always try to find positives in anything we try to do. The product was made with an idea, with a vision for somebody, right? When they put it together and they decided to make it into a product, they made it because they thought somebody would use it. It's not always the best analogy, because when you're thinking about it, it's like, well, I guess somebody could use this. Well, yeah, like I said,
someone could use it.
Somebody could use this. If somebody's down on their luck and they really, really need a phone, this could, in a sense, make phone calls.
I just did this great skit of like Hobo TK, like a stick with like a little pack on it.
Yeah, like that'll be my S Pen. It can function. It can do its job. It just, to me, I felt like what they were advertising, what they were selling, was not at the same level. They were not setting the expectation. They were selling you a shine. It was literally you're buying.
You're shining.
Yeah,
you're buying pretty.
It looks pretty, and that's all it is. I wouldn't recommend this to anybody as far as getting a phone, again, unless there is a real just like, I need this, and I can't find any more Revvl, any kind of older used device. So that would be my only thing. I think it's a great challenge. I tried to stick with it as much as I could, and I feel like, and I know Juan wasn't trying to do this like an intentional thing. It was more of the, can we do this? Can it work? You know, it looks nice. It could be fine, which somebody could do. And I think this was nice. I appreciate it, and it's a good challenge. And thanks for everybody that bugged us on Twitter to
finally finish it.
To finally finish it. I saw your comments. I just didn't want to respond, mostly because I didn't want it to say sorry. Sorry.
Well, and also this is something we wanted to take the time to have this conversation together.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like, the philosophy of this product bothers me, because I can only buy it online. And if I'm buying something online and I have that window where I can ship something, I could buy a used phone, or I could buy some other type of product.
Think of how much money did it cost them to ship this all the way from China and still sell it for that low of a price.
Yeah.
Which kind of,
big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things you have to keep in mind.
And that they could still afford a $20 price cut.
Well, I was going to say, on top of the fact that Amazon's charging them a fee. So think of all of the things. How cheap is this real? How really, and they still have to have a markup.
Versus you giving me a phone that now doesn't end up in a landfill.
No, and that's the goal. We
don't
want to throw the tech away.
Had a second life with me, and we'll hopefully have a third life when we finally decide on how we're going to give these away.
Gotta figure it.
We're not decided on that. There has been some small debate just on how we're going to get that done, but we'll have notes out on that on Twitter hopefully early next week, where you could take home a lovely no other accessories or box or anything. It's just the
sorry. When I said I bought it used, it
was used.
So at the beginning of the first video, it looked like I got the better deal because I got a box, I got a charger, I even got a screen protector. But again, all of that was included.
We'll have more information probably coming to the Twitters soon, so that we can do a little giveaway.
I may be able to sweeten the pot a little bit.
Oh, really? Okay. So stay tuned.
So yeah, I may be able to throw something in there.
A little spoiler.
Yeah.
Spoiler tease. Maybe.
If you guys have been following me on Instagram, you pretty much know what I'm talking about.
Well, now I know what he's talking about. But I'm going to be a little defensive about this Revvl, because I really do want it to go to someone who might need to use it. So we're going to talk about how we're going to do this giveaway.
Oh, no, totally. That's why I said I'd like to sweeten the pot if we can. And again, at the end of the day, I want to say thank you for sticking with us, reminding us. And then
I got more than a few comments like, hey, so what happened with that?
Yeah, and I do apologize. Life kind of just...
Life finds a way.
Always. And it continues.
This is absolutely where we get attacked by raptors. So, folks, as always, thank you so much for watching, for sharing content from both of our channels.
Yeah, everybody, Greggles TV. I saw all your tweets and all of that stuff. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Greggles is a really nice guy, Greg. Sorry.
I was just gonna give him the plug that you should follow him across the socials and on his own YouTube channel, TK Bay, TKDSL8655. You know me, I'm at some gadget guy on the Twitters and the Twitch and the Instagrams and the Facebooks, and
make sure you check out his Patreon as well, because if you'd like to support this kind of content. No, and the reality is there's a very small number of creators out there that will provide you the perspective that Juan has. And I say this because I've known him for a while. It's not because I'm just I follow him. I've known the guy. We've had lunch. We've hung out, and we've been at events. So to me, it's a great channel, and it's a great way to support, because it's a great way to keep it going. That's what I want. I would love to basically keep supporting it as much and any way I can.
Well, I thank you very much for that plug, and be on the lookout, because we'll have the contest info, but then we're going to do another field trip soon, hopefully a Pasadena 5G stream.
I hope, I'd like to do that very soon, because it'll be exciting.
Going to MWCLA?
So I got the email. I was surprised that it was in LA.
We're going to talk about this,
I'd like to.
this MWCLA. So maybe we'll also try and plan, because it's in October. So hopefully we'll have a couple fun little local field trips for you all to check out soon.
Yeah, especially...
Just kind of keep up that commentary. And then...
quite a few things coming up.
Obviously, we're going to have more gadget and device coverage, because you gotta.
Yeah. They don't call it, was it Techtober for no reason?
Actually, I gotta say, this has felt a little less like a harvest season than last year. Last year felt like just a brick to the face.
There's so much more stuff coming, though. There's still so much.
Yeah, I kind of feel like some of them are gonna be easier to talk about.
Some of them have leaked to basically, we know everything.
Yeah.
Some of them are starting to come out next week. There's still...
And Goran Petrovic says ROG2. So what's up with that?
So that's a discussion. No, I am working. I am working on more content for the ROG2. I honestly have to say that I'm very excited for the ROG2. Not that I wasn't excited for the first one, but I felt like they fixed everything I wanted out of the first one, and the battery lasts forever.
That's good.
6,000. That's the best way to go.
So on that note, we're gonna wrap this up.
Thank you, guys.
Like, share, subscribe, follow. Do all of the internet things and help support your favorite content creators, not just us sitting at the table,
of course.
but active participation, support, getting out there and sharing videos from people that you enjoy. Yeah. This is the right time to make sure that you're keeping those people fed, so that you get more cool stuff to watch and to consume. Yeah. And we'll catch you all on another live stream. And now I'm gonna awkwardly walk back to my computer so I can shut this off. That's how we do it.
Yeah, because we don't have the clicker.
I really need to. Maybe I should Streamlabs. Anyway, okay, so on that note, take care. Have a phenomenal weekend. And we'll talk to you all soon. Good day.
See you guys.
And for reals, goodbye.
Yeah. Nah.